is that innovation is about risk. It has to be about trying things that probably won't work or you're not really innovating. The key thing is make the associated failures with those risks, make those failures recoverable from a safety, reputation, and financial perspective. If you can keep getting back up again and fight another day, that is how you advance towards something that people probably thought was impossible at the outset. So the future of jet suit technology, as far as we're concerned, is actually delivering a step change in the world of special forces mobility and medic response in really tough conditions like in the mountains. In terms of whether it's going to be something that will revolutionize everybody's commute, we get that question a lot, but actually, I mean, never say never, because the first motor cars were considered crazy compared to a horse, and look where relentless improvement has taken the motor car. But then again, our jet suit at the moment would be about as practical as a Formula One car to go to the shops. So the answer is not yet, but never say never. So for me, innovation is all about pulling together an enormous diversity of perspectives and rapidly getting your hands dirty with testing those ideas and learning and adapting. If you don't get your hands dirty, you don't get away from the desk, you tend to not learn the lessons that you learn very fast from trying stuff. And it's through trying stuff and failing, as long as failure is recoverable, that's how you make the most rapid progress. So that diversity of fuel, diversity of perspective into the start, if you like, is the critical thing. So yes, with large organizations, and I did spend 16 years in a very large organization, I completely appreciate that the innovation, so pushing boundaries, testing things, failing quite a bit, that is an uncomfortable collection of behaviors. The interesting thing to acknowledge, though, is if you don't make lots of small recoverable failures on your journey towards a breakthrough, actually you just store up an existential risk later down the road. A competitor could come along and completely obliterate you because you haven't made those small steps towards keeping up with the competition. So it's tough, but very necessary. So it is tough to turn an idea, especially a very unusual and very challenging one, into something that becomes a reality. But the way to achieve that is to break it down into small steps. If you can, if you can digest the problem into small, testable individual steps, then the risk becomes much lower. It allows you to test and adapt rather than storing up, I mean, let's be unfair, an enormous government program that takes many decades and costs hundreds of millions. That's a big, scary thing to get wrong. If you divide it into lots of small steps, that little startup evolutionary journey is far more sustainable and teaches you loads. And you know what? If you are headed in the wrong direction, then you'll learn cheaply and quickly. So it's always a pleasure to share the journey that we've been on with Gravity. It's an 8-year, really fascinating meander from a seemingly impossible idea through to now a $70 million company with 300 events and 50 countries in the meantime. But actually, the underlying values, I think, are really transferable in multiple walks of life. Our core rule set that I try and get audiences to take away from my speaking is that the innovation is about risk. It has to be about trying things that probably won't work or you're not really innovating. The key thing is make the associated failures with those risks, make those failures recoverable from a safety, reputation, and financial perspective. If you can keep getting back up again and fight another day, that is how you advance towards something that people probably thought was impossible at the outset.